Joining us are two activists who have been for many years fighting against illegal mining and quarrying in Tamil Nadu. I want to welcome G. Sundarrajan. He's an activist. He's a coordinator of Poovalangin Nanbargal. It means Friends of Earth. It's a Tamil Nadu-based NGO dedicated to ecological preservation and sustainability. He's an engineer by profession, so he leverages his technical expertise to look at environmental issues. Welcome, Mr. Sundarrajan, to South Central.
Hi.
And from our Chennai studio is Jayaram V. Jayaram is the convenor of Arappor Iyakkam. Arappor means the good fight. So Arappor has been doing the good fight for quite some time now, fighting against corruption mainly. Jayaram, thank you for joining us at South Central.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here.
So the news lately has been about the Vijay government doing a lot of surveys in quarries and, how many of them have been shut down in Madurai or this district or the other. And I see so many online fights happening about this is just knee-jerk reaction. Because of that, the construction material, the money has increased, etc. So I thought we must break it down to people. How does illegal quarrying work? What is the kind of damage it's unleashed not just on the state's environment, but on the state's coffers also, because the money that is supposed to come to the state does not come, right? Despite all this, how have political parties not acted in the past? So if I can come to you first, Sundarrajan sir, can you explain to us, in the districts of Tamil Nadu, how does this illegal quarrying and mining work? What is legal and what is illegal first?
So when you have to get a mining license or a lease, which is called, so you will have to there is a set of process that you have to adhere to get this mining lease. Actually, it's a mining lease. So first you will have to identify the area and also the area should not be near to any vulnerable places like, reserve forests or eco-sensitive zones or villages or schools or, large habitat areas, commercial complex. It should not be near that. First, you have to identify that. Then you will have to apply for a particular extent of area. There is an environment management plan which you will submit because any activity of quarrying will have an impact on the environment, either dust, noise, and many other things, including groundwater contamination, many other things. So you will have to prepare a EMP, which is basically environment management plan. So EMP will have to be submitted and it has to go through a process of public hearing because the Pollution Control Board has to give you the consent to operate and the consent to establish. So you'll have to undergo public hearing and then the EC is provided along with the mining plan approval from the mining department. So this is the fundamental things that you will have to follow before getting a mining lease. The real problem starts from the same person getting lease. If it's legal, let us talk about legal quarrying. So instead of if you go for a mining plan with the 10 acres 10 acres is just an example. If you go for a mining plan or a mining lease for 10 or 20 acres, you will have to do a comprehensive, assessment of the impact of environment. So what they generally do is they will apply in one person's name for 2 acres or 2 hectares, another person's name for another 2 hectares or 2 acres, and another person's name for 2 acres. So son, wife, daughter, brother-in-law, sister-in-law, wife's cousin sister. So they will apply mines in all these names. Actually, it is a single owner. But if he is going to do this mines continuously in his one name, he will have to do a detailed environmental study, detailed impact study, which they will not do. So they will apply in different names. But if you go to the field and see, all this quarry mining will be adjacently placed. And this is legal part. But if you in Tamil Nadu, if you take roughly about 5,000 quarries is what we are getting information that is being operated in Tamil Nadu. Roughly, it could be 4,500, it could be 5,200. Out of which only 1,600 or 1,800 quarries are under any kind of license or permit. So they don't. For the rest of the quarries, it's illegal, or the lease period is over, or it's over. See, there are different things that the mining department has to see before giving the extension of the mining. Every few years, once you have to go and get the mining lease extension. Last government itself, gave a uninterrupted license period if you have a certain extent of area. That is itself mistake because if you give uninterrupted extension of the mining lease, you will have no control of what is happening there, what depth they are going. See, in a mining, you are supposed to do a step cutting method. In most of these quarryings, they go for vertical cutting method. which will make this area landslide prone. So all these are issues, confronting I'm only saying the larger issues. There are a lot many issues underneath. I'm only saying the largest. So this is how generally a mining plan, a mining lease is provided in Tamil Nadu, and this is what is happening with the mines in Tamil Nadu.
So, Jayaram, your opening comments, one thing is from what Mr. Sundarrajan said, if there are around 3,000, let's say, illegal quarries, or they're just operating without permission, or their leases expired, how did that happen that there is such a large number of illegal quarries, right? And any points that you want to touch upon which he didn't in his initial comments?
Thank you for having me here. See, with the issue with respect to the illegal quarrying, as Sundarrajan pointed out, yes, there are a large number of illegal quarries. So, what would have happened is that many of these quarries would have got license in the past. It would have expired, and then they would have continued to mine. So, as on day, they may have only 1,400 or 1,500 quarries which may have license. But many of the other quarries, they may have got license for 5 years between, let's say, 2014 to 19. But even after 19, they would have continued to mine, for example. Even those cases are there. The other part is that, see, what we have found is that even within this 1,500 quarries, which has got permits, rampant illegal quarrying is happening in those 1,500 quarries itself. So that is also a major problem. What we are seeing is that. So, for example, if there is a quarry which doesn't have a license, it becomes very easy for the government to go and just shut it down. If they have a political will, they can go and shut it down. But for the legal quarry, what is happening is that, so for example, in 2022, I will give you an example. In Thirunelveli, what had happened was that there was an accident in Adaimidi-Pankulam where 6 people died. Of course, because they did not follow the proper benching within a quarry. So what happened was that right after that, the administration ordered that all the quarries in the districts be closed temporarily. And they went and did a survey of all the 54 quarries in Thirunelveli that had license. And what they found, shockingly, was that, so there were officials from different districts put together as a team, special team. They found that out of those 54 quarries, 53 quarries were operating illegally. So what does that mean? Which means that a quarry may have got permission in the mining plan that Sundarrajan mentioned. So in the mining plan, they would have given, I will give an example. There was one quarry which was given permission for 3 lakh cubic meters for 5 years of rough stone mining. Now, each year, they are allowed to mine 60,000 cubic meters for 5 years, totaling to 3 lakh cubic meters. What happened was that when this survey happened, when this search happened, it was only 1.5 years. They were only 1.5 years into their leasing period. Now, at that point of time, they were allowed to mine at the max 1 lakh cubic meter, that's all, as per legal terms. But when they went and checked, they found that they had mined 6,78,000 cubic meters. So, today, so they have mined almost 5 to 6 times more than the allowable limit. And this is not in one quarry. This is almost, they have found this kind of a pattern in 53 of the 54 quarries where mining license has been issued to people. And the sub-collector, based on this, came up with a penalty, because what Supreme Court says, what the law says, there is a Mines and Minerals Act, which very clearly says that either if you mine more than the allowable limit within the license hold area, or if you mine outside the leasehold area, both are termed as illegal mining, both are termed as excessive mining, and for both, the government is supposed to recover the cost of the mineral. Or if the mined rough stone is there, they are supposed to confiscate that. But what had happened, so in fact, in many of the illegal, outside illegal thing that happens also, in this, what they have found was that if a person had taken a license in his survey number, they had also mined in the nearby government Porambok land. So in the nearby government Porambok land is taken as what Sundarrajan mentioned as without license, operating without license. Now, for the area where they have got the license, they may have got the license, but they have operated more than the allowable limit in their area. So both has happened. So for this, the sub-collector came up with a penalty of almost 262 crores. 50 lakh cubic meters of rough stone of excessive mining happened just in 24 quarries in one taluk, Radhapuram taluk of Thirunelveli. And if you can think about the entire Tamil Nadu. So 50 lakh cubic meters was the excessive, more than allowable limit that was mined there. And the sub-collector came up with a penalty of 262 crores for those 24 quarries. But there was a heavy political pressure immediately thereafter. And I can talk about it later, how, there was pressure from the top to subvert this entire penalty and so on. But this is the kind of rampant illegal quarrying that we are seeing.
Dhanya, if I could share one or two reporting experiences when covering mining primarily in Karnataka, but parts of Andhra. One thing that I noticed is in Ballari, which is a district bordering Andhra, we saw that when we'd gone in 2010 and 11, they had altered the boundaries of the state itself to make sure that their area of mining, the license given, is increased. Two other times in Chamrajnagar district, which is bordering with Tamil Nadu, and in Kanakpura in Karnataka, close to Bangalore, there were attempts on our lives. In fact, when we were doing some recording, one time they tried to push us into 150 feet, pit that was dug when we were taking shots. Another time they threw, boulders from top, and all of this on camera, knowing very well that we're recording. The reason I'm citing these examples is that it requires a lot of money, muscle power, and of course, political pull, like you mentioned, to pull off such kind of activities. Tell us how that process works, and how all of the nexus between everybody who from bottom to right on top.
We'll begin with Jayaram. Yeah.
See, I think I can continue what I saw in Thirunelveli, because there we very clearly saw how this nexus worked. And so right after this collector closed down that quarry, in fact, what you are saying is true. I mean, most people in Thirunelveli, they were very, very afraid to raise this issue. In fact, we got to know about this issue when we did our RTI session. So people said that, all these quarries have been closed, but they were immediately reopened in 5-6 months. And when we went and probed into how it was reopened, all these illegal quarries were reopened, that's where the shock came in, because in between those times, what has happened is that the local MLA, the local MP, they all pressurized the sitting collector in an open press meet. So there was a press meet that happened where, press people asked the collector, when are you going to reopen the quarries? And then immediately the MLA jumped in, the MP jumped in to ask the collector, give a time frame about when it will be open. And that's because the MP, the then MP Jnanadravyam, their family had quarries in Thirunelveli. And the local MLA was the speaker, the former speaker Appa. He was also on record pressurizing the collector. So the kind of pressure the collector faced, we were able to see then. And in spite of that, the collector stood his ground. Vishnu was the collector then, he stood his ground. The sub-collector was Rishabh IAS, who actually stood his ground to penalize 262 crores. So what happened? They found that, nothing could be done locally. Then the pressure came from the top, where they changed the mining commissioner itself. The mining commissioner was replaced. He came in and he reduced the penalty from 262 crores to 13.8 crores. So if I have to say that, for example, I can give you an example of one quarry which was which was owned by a DMK stalwart locally. He actually mined 5.5 lakh cubic meters in a land nearby to what license was given to him. It was given to him as a particular survey number. In the neighboring survey number, he has mined 5.5 lakh cubic meters, and he was penalized 28 crores by the sub-collector. That penalty was reduced to 1 crore. So you can look at the kind of muzzle and money power that the people use to pressurize the officials to reduce the penalty. There is a common cause judgment which very clearly says if there is excessive mining, 100% of the cost of mineral must be recovered. You can't do anything less than that. Now, this mining commissioner says that illegal mining is for areas where they have mined outside the mining lease area. But any excessive mining that was done within the mining lease area, this rule does not apply, is something he writes. And this was against the Supreme Court order. This was against the Rule Mines and Minerals Act 21(5), which very clearly states that anything more than the mining lease allowable limit is illegal mining. So this had happened, and right now, of course, we had appealed against it, and right now we hear that there is an order to reverse that mining commissioner Jayagandhan's order.
Sundarrajan sir, so I was reading an article by Ilango and Rajshekaran on the front line. This is after Jagabar Ali was killed in Pudukkottai. My colleague Shabir Ahmed had covered it quite extensively. Jagabar was a whistleblower who was standing against illegal mining and quarrying, and he was killed. He was run over by a tipper lorry. Now, there was a Department of Geology and Mining survey which was done in that Thirumayam Revenue Division. And they found that in that revenue division, there were 36 quarries with permission, but there were many illegal quarries. They also find that 250 crore is what the government was losing by way of royalty in just Pudukkottai district. So, one other angle of this is that the government is also losing a lot of money. But despite that, the government does not step in many times because the money is being made by politicians, as Jayaram was saying, right?
Yes. See, I mean, between 21 and 26, 2020 and 26, very roughly I'm saying, about 24 people were killed who fought against mining activity. It could be sand, it could be stone, anything. But 24 people were killed in the last 5 years' time. You remember VAO in Thuthukudi, Lourdusamy was murdered. He's a government official. You will see VAOs being killed, RDOs being killed, Tahsildars being struck, sub-inspectors have been run over, activists have been killed. So, illegal mining is actually, it's not only stopping the revenue to government, it is also killing people. 21 to 26, we lost 24 people, activists, government employees, whistleblowers, whoever you want to call, including Jabar Ali. We lost about 24 people in the last 5 years' time, 21 to 26. Plus, there is a rule that once quarrying stops, you have to fence it. Like you have to put a fence around it so that people don't get inside. In the last 5 years' time, 5 or 6 years, 400 people have fallen into those abandoned quarries and lost their lives. Hundreds of cattle have lost their life because they just slip into the abandoned quarries. 400 people have died. It has not been come out of the major because abandoned quarries have not been fenced by the quarry operators. In Kalampalayam in Tirupur district, we saw abandoned quarries being filled with medical waste, solid waste, and waste from other countries too has been dumped in our abandoned quarries, which is again spoiling the groundwater, pollution, many other things. So there is nothing legitimate in this quarrying operation, starting from, as Jayaram was mentioning, extending your mining area, mining more than what you should mine, killing people during operations or when whistleblowers raise an alarm, and killing people even after you abandon your quarries. So the entire start to end operations of quarries is to only kill people and make revenue loss to the government. So what I'm saying is from a start to end, quarrying is, it's hazardous in many ways. Government of India surveyed India 147 locations which are landslide prone, out of which 6 locations are in Tamil Nadu, Coimbatore, Tirupur, Tenkasi, Thirunelveli, and one more district have been identified as landslide prone areas only because of quarrying, only because of stand quarrying.
See, one thing that I want to say is the kind of effects that it's having on people around the quarry also. We need to look at the kind of issues that people face because, we saw in Thirunelveli, they, on one side, their houses, there is crack that's developed in their houses. There is, these explosives that is being used. So there are rocks, big rocks that fly away and comes to the nearby field. So therefore, it's also quite dangerous to farmers nearby. Then the dust from these explosives, what happened is that they go and settle on the flour. So therefore, it affects the yield of the farmers. Then there is this groundwater depletion that happens. Then when these heavy vehicles go, we see that the roads get damaged very quickly. So for people who are commuting, the roads also become very dangerous. And many a times these people operate the lorries at very high, high speed and so on. And there are a lot of accidents that are caused as well. So we are seeing people living around the quarries are facing multiple issues because of these quarries as well. And so on one side, yes, there is a heavy revenue loss that is happening. And right now, very recently, the government has come up with a one-time regularization scheme. In January, they introduced a one-time regularization scheme for the quarries, in which they said instead of recovering the cost of minerals, they will just collect 2 times the seigniorage fee for all the illegal quarries. And there is nothing more blatant than this, because we can only see this as a fundraising scheme for the then ruling party DMK just before they vacated office. Because this is if you do this, the government, the exchequer will at least lose 20,000 crores. That is the quantum of money that needs to be collected from the illegal quarries. As I said, just in one taluk, 262 crores was the amount of money that needs to be collected for 1.5 years of illegal mining. 1.5 to 2 years of illegal mining, let me say. So you think about 10 years of illegal mining in the entire Tamil Nadu, 20,000 crore is a very, very conservative figure that I am giving. So that is the loss. That is the quantum of loss. So we have been asking the government to withdraw that GO immediately.
Actually, it reminds me of this Akrama Sakrama in Karnataka, where they try to regularize all illegal land plots, and the Supreme Court actually struck it down as a law that cannot be defended. Sundarrajan sir, now Jayaram touched upon the environmental degradation that this mining and quarrying causes, right? If you could think of 1 or 2 examples of what you have seen, rivers being affected, communities being impacted, because there is continuous demand for M sand, P sand, C sand, and all kinds of
That's
sand.
how the pressure is also applied, right?
Yeah.
Saying that construction is stopping and all that.
But at the same time, people are also saying that, see, we do need these construction material. So how do you think a balance could be struck? Like, so 2 parts. One is, tell us examples of the environmental degradation, and how can that balance be struck?
See, the environmental degradation is manifold. It is not a simple thing to just say it in few lines. Noise pollution, dust pollution, groundwater contamination, houses getting stumbled, cracks, and many a village, farms getting affected because of the dust that goes and falls on the. Actually, you're supposed to keep watering on the mined material so that dust does not flow. Nobody follows that. So you can carry the dust from quarry dust from one place to another by lorries. It will spread the dust across different farms, have lung infections to people. Your drinking water sources get contaminated, your fields get contaminated. It becomes a vulnerable zone because of continuous mining, blasting. That hillock becomes landslide prone. So these are all environmental challenges or degradation that happens because of quarrying. In any quarrying, sand quarrying, or for M sand or P sand or regular river sand quarrying, it has a very huge impact on that. Plus, since these contractors are flushed with funds, they create caste tensions in a village. So when a village opposes a particular quarry because of the noise, because of the pollution, because of the dust, what they try to do, since they are flushed with funds, they call the dominant caste people, give some money to them so that the people who can muster their courage in the villages, show their caste dominance, create a lot of caste atrocities in the villages, because these caste groups are funded by the money that is got out of illegal mining. This is happening across almost all villages that are adjacent to a stone quarrying mine in Tamil Nadu. You can go to different villages. This is completely happening. And as I said earlier, these abandoned quarries are being used as waste dumping yards. So in Tirupur, Kalampalayam, they even dumped waste from other countries without any check. Nobody checked that. So other countries' biomedical waste, medical waste, chemical waste are being dumped in abandoned quarries. So it is bound to have an impact by leaching. It is bound to have an impact in the groundwater, in the streams nearby. The streams goes to river, and the people drink water from the river. So it's a huge environmental degradation because of this quarrying, especially unchecked illegal quarrying. Okay, how do you find a balance? This is what we have to try now. See, when the present government minister went and surveyed few quarries, ordered few quarries to be shut down, illegal quarries or quarries which have mined more than their permitted limit, there's a hue and cry from the construction industry that the prices have gone from 3,000 to 3,500, from 6,000 to 8,000. So this is a pressure tactics by the mining mafia. Both the quarry owners and the lorry owners both work in tandem, both work hand in glove. So because the quarry owners lose their money because the quarrying is not allowed, lorry owners lose their money because the quarry material is not transported. So this is a mafia jinx. So the first step is stop taking natural resources to nearby states. What stops you from that? When India is a country, there's a saying that India is a country, you should be allowed to take quarry, resources from one state to another state. I'm not denying that fact, but why don't you control and stop? If there is a quarry in Kerala, let it mine and give to the state of Kerala. If there's a quarry in Tamil Nadu, let it mine and give the quarry, produce to states in the Tamil Nadu state. Let that state resources be used there itself. So first step is to ban transportation of raw material. Mostly it is operated from Thirunelveli district. Mostly this illegal mines that operate in, as Jayaram was mentioning, out of 52, only 51 were illegal. So they are operating in Thirunelveli district. So because it is closer by district to Kerala, when you cross the checkpost in Ariyankavu or in Puliyarai, you can see hundreds of lorries standing there, continuously day in and day out, quarrying, taking this natural resource to nearby states. But you will not find one lorry in the reverse direction that would carry natural resources from Kerala to Tamil Nadu. You will not find one. What you will find, the lorries that take illegally the sand and stone or quarries that take from natural resources from Tamil Nadu to Kerala, when they come back, they will take medical waste and solid waste from Kerala and dump it in Tamil Nadu. You could see a lot of cases like that. In the NGT also took that case. So first step is to ban the transportation of natural resources from Tamil Nadu to other states. That is one. Number two, undertake a comprehensive study on the overall impact of all the quarries in Tamil Nadu. And claim, the constitution is clearly saying polluter pays. You and I should not pay. Polluter pays principle is there, and it is 100% compensation. It is not that 50% compensation. All the money that has been illegally mined or quarried has to be retrieved back from the quarry owners. The government should do this. If we stop this transportation of natural resources to other states itself, our recommend is very, very low compared to recommend of Kerala, Karnataka put together. So Tamil Nadu, plus in the stopgap, if you want to do something, you can always import, sand from other countries, which the states like Karnataka have started. They start to import sand mine from countries like Indonesia, Vietnam, and other places. So in the stopgap, Tamil Nadu also, if it needs actually, our opinion is it not be needed. But even if it needed, we can always import from other countries which are abundantly mining and selling to different countries. And thirdly, on the larger picture, on the longer run, we should also focus on developing some less natural resources intensive construction methods and construction composite materials we'll have to find out to replace natural resources. So this is a multi-pronged strategy. You have to play a T20 match so that you handle today. You have to play a one-day match so you can handle tomorrow. And you have to play a test match, which you should handle a long-term plan.
You sounded like one of those, people who are on those cricket channels, right? Yeah.
But just quickly on that point, I think there are some materials available, like fly ash is used to make cements, blocks, and also as a partial substitute for sand, even if it can't be 100%. I think it's a lack of political will at one go, and like you mentioned, all these lobbies coming together so that their business is not impacted.
Okay, Jayaram, I want to just ask you one thing and end this very illuminating conversation. It is that there is a lot of hue and cry now that construction material cost may go up in Tamil Nadu because there is a knee-jerk reaction from this government to stop all quarries. Now, I don't know how long this government will continue any of this action because they will also come under the traditional pressure from the quarrying mafia, as we call it, right? But what are your thoughts on how can, the same question I asked Mr. Sundarrajan, how can things be balanced? Because the construction industry also has to go on. There is legitimate demand there. But how do you then make sure that it is not done in a way where we are plundering our resources, and that a couple of people are just not making crores and millions, and the others are left to really look at bear the consequences.
See, I agree with what Sundarrajan has been saying with respect to movement of vehicles to other states, which needs to be checked, number one. Number two, see, we also need to have systemic efforts towards these things. Like one of the things that we have been asking for quite a while is validation of the e-passes that goes. For example, whatever e-pass that is generated today, it is completely fake. Even I can generate the e-pass out of my computer. There is a barcode on top of it. So when there is a movement of vehicle carrying these jelly stones or rough stones or whatever it is, so they have to get a transit pass, and then there is a barcode on top of it. Now this barcode is neither scanned in the weighbridge nor scanned in the checkpost. So there is no mechanism to do it, to validate at all. So which means what happens is that for instead of 1,000, someone can take license for 1,000 metric tons for this month for transit passes, and then they can generate fake passes and even carry 4,000 or 5,000 metric tons to the other states. So you just in fact, the Tenkasi collector came up with a software. He implemented it in near the Puliyalai checkpost between December 26, 2024 to January 9, 2025. In those 13 days, what they found was that almost whatever that they will carry in, let's say, those 13 days is equivalent to the permit that they obtain for almost 6 months. So it's 5 to 6 months. So therefore the quarry owners found, if this continues, then our entire annual license will get over in a month. Our annual license limit will get over in a month. So they pressurize the top to stop it. Now it's the time to reintroduce those softwares and ensure that validation is done, so things are done legally. On the other side, we also have a sand mining. We must understand there are two things. One is the sand, which is this, destroying the mountains and all that, or the underground quarrying that happens. But there is another thing called the sand mining that has happened. Even in that, in Tamil Nadu, it was found that Tamil Nadu government itself ran those quarries, sand mining quarries. Their revenue that they got was only 36 crores. But the sand mining mafia, as per the ED records, have made 4,300 crores. Now, look at this quantum. It is the government which runs the sand quarries, but the private players just come in to transport that sand to a nearby 1 kilometer place. They have to take the sand. So the contract is only for taking that sand to the nearby dock which is there. But they are the ones which has taken all the sand and sold it. And so this entire thing that, recent thing that, increasing of prices, I am told it was only artificial. It was not, it was a lobby that operated to create an artificial kind of surge. You could see that it all landed on the news channels exactly at the same point of time on the same day. It became a big breaking news. And so all this was stage managed, by the entire lobby. And 1 or 2 days later, now the association comes and says, we have not increased the rate at all. We don't know how this news came. The other things that have come up is that even the government can, just like the sand mining, the government can also think about operating their own quarries as well for production. So therefore they can regulate the prices, they can ensure that the prices are in check and so on. So there are these different mechanisms that the government can try out as well.
Okay, so I guess we have an overall view of what is happening. And, as you guys were talking, I'm noting down story ideas in my brain. But, when we join as young reporters, invariably people will list this story of, I want to cover illegal mining, illegal quarrying. Everybody's ambitious. They want to catch illegal mining. And the seniors in the newsroom will say, it's the most dangerous story to do. Don't unnecessarily go do it. I have so many colleagues who've gotten attacked. I remember M. Suchitra from Down to Earth, a very well-known environmental activist. She was attacked in Karur when she went to cover illegal sand mining. And so many people, right? Not just whistleblowers, but even journalists doing their job. So anyway, thank you very much, both of you, for taking time out. And please continue the good fight. yes, there will be some anger saying, so much of activism, where is real development? But don't give up. Be there fighting on behalf of all of us. Thank you very much for that. As we wrap up the show, you have to give recommendations of a book or some of a series or something that you watch for our audience. We'll start with Pooja. Pooja, what is your recommendation?
So my recommendation is TEDx talk by Alina, who was a guest earlier. I found it very powerful the way she spoke. I would urge everyone to go and watch that. And also a poem written by her called My English. I thought that addresses issues of class and caste so well. Those are my two recommendations.
Jayaram, you have recommendation?
Well, my recommendation. So I didn't think about it, but so first I will recommend my own book, because we have documented the last 10 years of work in a book called Ooyalellam Oru Prachanaya. So it's on Amazon and everywhere. So I request people to buy it, of course. And when I came into social work, I got inspired by the writings and speech of people like Sainath. So I think that is everyone loves a good drought. It's a good book to start with for people.
So, one is, please get all the books published by Pooja in Nanbargal. It talks about the environmental issues. But I would personally recommend a documentary in HBO, which is titled Fukushima, a Nuclear Nightmare. It's a documentary in HBO. Please watch, because recently Chennai has got a feather in its cap of going to host 3 fast-breeder reactors in the immediate vicinity of Chennai. One prototype and 2 commercial fast-breeder reactors are going to come near Chennai in Kalpakkam. So please watch Fukushima, Nightmare, in a HBO documentary that has come up recently.
I will check my Tamil now, because Jayaram said his recommendation is the book which says Ooyalellam Oru Prachanaya, which means, is corruption really a problem, in a sarcastic way? I think I'm right. Okay. My recommendation is an investigation by Alt News from Bengal. It's about a town which polled 97% of votes for the BJP. Basically they've done a story from a booth in the Rajhat Newtown constituency. 97% of votes went to the BJP in this Muslim-dominated booth. So they went from voter to voter, and they're like, we didn't vote for the BJP. We don't know how the BJP has got so many votes. It's a very nice investigation to read. So please do read that. It's on the Alt News. And as our support to NewsClick, I want to recommend that site itself. I think more of you should check out the stories done by NewsClick. They've always supported people's movements, and I think that is why they face the wrath of the government. Some relief for Prabir, and I hope all the other cases against him are also shut sooner or later. Thank you very much, Mr. Sundarrajan and Jayaram, for joining us. Thank you to my producers, Megha Mugundan and Jasim Ali, production assistant Ajay, Nitesh, who's helping us with the studio in Chennai, Sukanya Shaji and Ria, who does our socials. Every week, catch us on South Central and tell us what you would like to discuss. Write to us at southcentral@thenewsminute.com.